My name is Daanish Azim. 3 years ago, I went bankrupt. I lost everything that I had from a six-figure crypto portfolio, from a 780 credit score, dropped down to 500. And I had a bunch of things going on for myself. And within a few months, I pretty much lost everything simply due to a bankruptcy that I had to go through a very bad situation that I got faced with. But nonetheless, 3 years later, I'm sitting in one of my dream places in Miami, Florida. I drive one of my dream cars, which is a BMW M4 Competition, and I live in a nice high rise. Now, I'm not saying this to brag or bros, because at the end of the day, I'm just like anybody else, like regular human being, come from a brown family. I was told go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and realistically, I dropped out of school, in college, my third year of college. I started a bunch of different businesses throughout my last about 8 to 10 years of entrepreneurship. I've tried pretty much everything. I started when I was 18 years old, reselling phones, and that was my first successful business, which I wouldn't even say it's a business. It was more of a side hustle. I was making an extra 4K, 5K. Even my biggest month, I remember hitting $10,000 a month just reselling phones from like Craigslist. I used to use an online website called swappa.com, and I sold hundreds of phones and made probably nearly 6 figures of like in 2 years when I did that from like the ages of like 17 years old to 20 years old. So as a young guy, I was making decent money. And I wasn't really working that much to make that kind of money when I was reselling phones. That's why it's very important when you make money. It's not just about making money. It's about how do you make the most amount of money with the least effort, right? And that was always my mindset, even since I was 16, 17 years old. And my second business that I really got tapped into was the network marketing industry, more also known as MLM. I got introduced to a mentor who was, probably in his 40s, saw him successful, got introduced to him, and he kind of took me under his wings. He taught me about reading professional business books and Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, Magic of Thinking Big. So this started shifting my mindset, even though in that industry of network marketing, I stayed in it for multiple years, from like the ages of like 20 years old to about 24 years old. And I never really made serious money. I never made more than $2,000 a month in that industry. So nothing super serious, but I learned a lot of skills, right? I learned about mentorship. I learned about listening to the right videos on YouTube. I learned about just a lot of mindset stuff. And without a successful mindset, you will never build a successful life. So I'm actually grateful to be in that industry, even though I never made good money from it. The next business that I really got into was Amazon, so e-commerce. In fact, my first month of the business after I hired a coach, I made $10,000 in nearly profit. And I thought I was on top of the world as a 22, 23-year-old, making 10K a month online, hardly doing any work. And I got humbled pretty quickly because that Amazon business pretty much shut down due to my account since I was drop shipping within like 3 months. So that income kind of went away. Then I got really, as I was doing network marketing, I got into the Forex and crypto industry, which is trading. And I lost a lot of money trading, made money, but overall I lost more money trading. But with crypto, I really hit it off, right? And the years of like 2020, 2021, the bull market was happening in the crypto industry. And I wouldn't say I was the smartest, but I understood what was going on. I understood something called altcoins, and I was making a lot of money. In fact, I created a free Telegram group, and I built that free Telegram group all the way from 0 members to like 900 people in that free Telegram group. Started just getting out free plays, and I actually built a crypto portfolio account nearly from like $10,000 to almost $100,000. So 6-figure crypto portfolio. I was helping my dad, I was helping my brother, I was helping people that were in my free Telegram group. Eventually, I even had a paid group that people started like getting into. And I was just helping people make money with the knowledge that I knew about how to make money with altcoins in the crypto industry early in 2020, 2021. But that was when I went through eventually a very tough situation. I was doing good. I remember going to trips like Dubai. I was going alone and I was making thousands of dollars every single day. In fact, crypto trading was the first time I've ever seen making over $10,000, which I made on a coin called Shiba Inu, which was like a meme coin essentially. And I made over $10,000 one single day, which was pretty crazy, right? And never saw that type of money. And I felt like I'm on top of the world, making money, just sitting at home. And, I built this 6-figure crypto portfolio, but this is when I went through a very bad situation. I don't like going super deep into it, but in short story, within a few months, a 6-figure crypto portfolio. I have great credit. I've always been super smart. My credit was 780. I had over $50,000 in personal credit lines. I didn't know about business credit at this point. And I basically went through a bad situation, which made me go through a bankruptcy, Chapter 7, and that made me lose everything, right? When you go through a bankruptcy, you have to forfeit all the income that you have in terms of whatever's in your crypto portfolio, whatever's in your bank account. if you own any assets. And that's a situation I had to go through. Luckily, I didn't own a house or something like that. So, grateful for that in those terms. But I lost everything I won. I remember having a negative bank balance account. Imagine, from the ages of 18 years old, I've always made money. I've almost nearly never had less than $5,000 or $10,000 on my bank account since the age of 18 until this bankruptcy hit, and went from a six-figure stock, seeing six figures in my crypto portfolio, feeling like I'm gonna move eventually to my dream, city, which was gonna be Miami at that point when I was the age of like 25 years old. And I really thought I had a lot going on for myself. But when that hit, I went through a super lonely, depressed period. There was weeks I literally was not sleeping, right? When you lose everything, it's okay to not have anything and then lose a little bit. It's not that depressing. But when you go from six figures in a bank account, thinking you're doing good, feeling like you're kind of on top of the world, and then losing everything within months, it hits you very differently, because all the effort that I was putting in from years, sacrificing. I didn't used to go out and party. I didn't used to do dumb stuff that a lot of people in their 20s do. I was a guy that's on his mission for the most part. And when I took that hit, I realized for weeks that, okay, as I'm kind of depressed and I'm going through a lonely period and I couldn't really sleep a lot of these nights, and I never even told my mom the situation, I can either stay in that depressed state or I can fight back and be like, okay, I'm still a guy in his mid-20s, and there's people, I've heard their stories go from losing millions of dollars to going bankrupt and then making it back within a few years. So I said I can adopt two mindsets. I could stay a loser with a loser mindset, or I could get back up, just get back to work, right? So I told myself mentally, I'm gonna lock in for the next 2 years. That's exactly what I did. For the next 2 to 3 years, I locked in. I eventually got into going back to Uber, which I used to do at a point in my life. And I started driving Uber 30 hours, 40 hours, 50-hour weeks, hardly making maybe like $800 to $1,000 to maybe $1,200 a week. So like $3,000 to $5,000 a month. But this got me back in the rhythm of making money and save some money. And then my friend introduced me to financial services, which specifically life insurance. And I got into the life insurance space selling life insurance. And even though I didn't really like it, it was making me money. I was making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. My biggest month, I even hit over $25,000 in the life insurance space. But overall, 6 months in, I got very tired of it. It was the same routine: wake up at 8 a.m., dial the phones, deal with old people. And I just didn't have the energy, and I just didn't enjoy it enough. And that's when I was, okay, let me find a different business vehicle. Let me look into what other opportunities are out there. And I randomly came across a YouTube video with Grant Cardone interviewing a guy named Brian Page. And he was describing or explaining the Airbnb arbitrage business model. And this is when I learned about what Airbnb arbitrage was. I realized, okay, to do real estate with this industry, Airbnb arbitrage, you don't need $50,000 saved up. You don't need $100,000 saved up. You don't need a special license. And it got me really intrigued and interested. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and I just started learning. I got into different coaching programs. I started investing into myself to learn, how does this business really work? Short story, within a few months, I got into a different program. I started learning. And within a few months, I landed my first Airbnb deal in Houston, Texas, while I was sitting back home in Chicago. And the coolest part about that deal was I did it all virtually. I hired a cleaner. I was able to automate a lot of the business, and I just got super interested how this business works. And that property made me money, right? So from there, eventually within a few months, I got a few properties in Chicago during the summer, started making over $10,000 a month in profit just from like 3 to 4 different properties in Chicago. And from there, I just kept scaling over the years. Within a year, I even started teaching people kind of for free in a free Telegram group, documenting my journey about Airbnb. Eventually, people started asking me, yo, how do I do this? Can you teach me? And I started eventually coaching and teaching other people how to do this as well. And that's how my coaching program eventually today, which is called BNB Cash Flow System, is built up, is starting almost over 2 years ago in 2024. And basically, every business I've ever done, I've always liked helping other people. If I know how to make money in an industry, why would I not go help other people? And why would I not make it into a business of coaching and consulting when I can help other people and make money myself as well inside of a coaching business? So I got, in 3 years now, I've scaled my Airbnb business to almost 20 properties. I've done $80,000, $90,000 a month on Airbnb as my biggest months, and successfully scaled it where, I'm able to make $75,000 to $80,000 a month in revenue on Airbnb with about 20 to 30% profit margins most months, and just live a good life, right? Like in 2025, I took the leap of faith, started doing good. I moved out to Florida, more specifically Fort Lauderdale in the Florida area, and I got into a high rise. I started seeing a lot more nice cars, right? I come from a little city in Chicago, a little suburb called Bolingbrook, and I just didn't see the nice cars. I didn't see wealthy people. When I moved out to Florida in Fort Lauderdale, I saw Rolls Royces, I saw the Lambos, I saw supercars, I saw a lot of wealthy people, I saw the yachts because I was living right in front of the Fort Lauderdale Riverwalk, which you see the boats and the yachts and everything, huge yachts, $10, $20 million yachts. And I just got inspired, right? If you want to think bigger, you have to be around a bigger environment. You can't be in a little city or a little suburb, not seeing the nice cars. It's very hard to think big that way. So moving out really made a big difference for me. And within 3 months of moving to Florida, I grinded every single day. For the first 3 months of moving to Florida, I saved up $100K in my bank account, and I was just crushing it in terms of business, really working. And within 6 months of moving to Florida, eventually I went back home to Chicago. I bought my mom her dream car, which is a BMW 5 Series. I came back to Florida and I bought myself my dream Rolex, which was a Rolex Wimbledon for $14,000. Then I bought myself my first dream car, which was an AMG SL63. The retail RSVP price on that car is $180,000 brand new. I of course bought it used for about $100,000 on a 2022. And short story, within 6 months of moving to Florida, I went from being in my parents' house, in a nice house, to living in Florida in a high-rise building, seeing yachts, seeing the supercars, buying my own six-figure car, buying a nice Rolex watch, buying my mom a nice car. Eventually, I started even getting in shape because people in Florida are in shape. So I started adopting the successful habits of how do you even get in shape. I went from 210 pounds to now sitting right now at 170 pounds, almost 40 plus pounds I've lost since moving to Florida less than about a year and a half ago. And my life is drastically different, but this all goes to show that it doesn't matter where you're at. Within a few years, your life can change. So if you're at a low position, it doesn't matter. You can go to work, cut out all your distractions, sacrifice, put in 10-hour days, 12-hour days, 16-hour days. That's what I did at a given point. I used to work 14 hours a day doing something for my business or a job. It doesn't matter what it is. You're productive in making money or learning the right skills. And 3 years later, I'm gladly living a dream life. I would tell most people, high-rise building, nice BMW M4 competition with 650 horsepower, getting in good shape, and soon getting married. So it's just a bunch of things that your life can really change quickly if you cut out your distractions, lock in and focus, which means just focus down on what actually works for you, and then stay consistent for the next 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. Things don't happen in 1 month. So as long as you do these things, I promise you, you cannot fail. Like, you will succeed. Some people, it might take 6 months. Some people might take 3 years. It doesn't matter. You just got to go at your own pace, and God will bless you when he decides to bless you. And if you guys are watching this, hopefully you guys got some kind of value. If you guys are someone that wants to learn how to build an Airbnb business, I coach and have coached hundreds of students on how to successfully start an Airbnb business, how to eventually scale it past $10,000, $20,000 a month. So if that's something you guys are interested in, just either leave a question down below or click the link in my description so you guys can book a call with me and my team. We can see if it's a good fit for us to work together. But hopefully you guys got some value. You guys learned a little bit about my story if you don't know me, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.